Good. Yeah, it's really hard to put into words. I think what a man like Bill Russell has not only obviously meant to this city, but has meant to professional sports, has meant to black athletes, and just the progress that we've seen in this country over the last 60 years or so. When I think of Bill Russell, I don't think of necessarily the championships or the Celtics and the winning, which I think is a legacy that speaks for itself. I think of what he did for black athletes. And, I'm a beneficiary of the actions of men and women like Bill Russell, who are willing to step out on a limb and advocate for black athletes and black Americans and really push for change, push for equality. I can't imagine having to have gone through some of the things that he had to go through, especially early on in his life and his career. The reality is that he wasn't even seen as a full citizen of this country when he started his career, and certainly when he started his life. So really think about that. A couple generations removed from, black Americans really being seen as less than American. So when I think about Bill Russell, I celebrate that part of his legacy more than anything else.
Matthew, 1961, Russell organized a boycott of a game. Some black athletes on the Celtics were not allowed service in a cafeteria at a lunch place in Lexington, Kentucky. That's 60 years ago, so he was taking a knee before taking a knee the courage is amazing, right?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I'm one of the guys that's old enough on this team to have had parents who grew up in the segregated South, and you hear the stories of what that was like for that generation, and it's unimaginable. And you talk about courage. It's really hard to articulate the type of courage, commitment, resolve, integrity that those men and women displayed, that Mr. Russell displayed during that time. I mean, we all know what the 60s in this country looked like. I mean, as fondly as we like to think of Boston, we can think about what integration looked like here in the school systems here, and it wasn't pretty. And I think that was kind of the makeup of our country at the time, unfortunately. But, you think about people that just saw injustice, weren't going to tolerate it, and they were going to do something about it in a peaceful way. And, you talk about peaceful protest. I'm thankful for those men and women. I'm thankful for people like Bill Russell. Because, as I said, I wouldn't be here doing what I am doing today without men and women like them.
Matt, does that make you want to kind of pay it forward if what he did benefits you? Does that make you want to pay it forward to the next generation for your children and future athletes and so forth?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all have a responsibility to look after and be good stewards of the gifts that we were given, and then advance those gifts and opportunities and pass them along to the next generation. I think, if you don't have vision and foresight into the future and into looking after those that are come after you, it's just selfish. And, I think about, one of the verses that my family loves is Micah 6:8. We all have a responsibility to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. And I think for me and my family, and I think for a lot of guys on this team, we do have a vision towards the future and towards making things better for those that are going to come after us. I did not. I wasn't fortunate enough to get a chance to meet him. That's fun. It never gets old. You see guys in there grinning like they're little kids. I mean, to be able to come out here. I mean, when you really think about it, grown men putting on pads to go to play football. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So we were excited. There's a lot to clean up, but you got to be thankful for these opportunities that you come out here and get a chance to play football.
And going off of that from your end, how is the intensity just a little bit different than it was last week?
Yeah, it's just different. I mean, this is real football. I mean, it's fun to be out here, run around, shells and jersey, and everybody looks cool in their little, But when you get out here and pads, this is football, interior play, physicality, execution, competitive situations. This is what we need to make our football team better, and we need to embrace and enjoy the process.
I got one more question relative to Russell, and from your dad's perspective, you got a guy who's playing in LA in
Mm-hmm.
the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
80s. He must have been kind of a standard bearer for guys like your dad.
Mm-hmm. No question.
Did you exchange any thoughts with your dad?
I haven't had a chance to speak with my dad yet, but we've spoken about Mr. Russell in the past. My dad's story, just to give you a little bit of context, grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, didn't go to integrated schools till he was in 10th grade, went to an HBCU in Jackson State. So he went to school within a 5-mile radius in Jackson, Mississippi, and really only went to school with whites for 2 years. And then he gets drafted by the Rams, and he goes to California. And he said he was scared to death. He didn't know what it was going to be like, what he was going to be treated like. Hadn't had white teammates since high school, and that experience was not a good one, I can assure you that. So to look at guys like Russell and Chamberlain, Ali, Jim Brown, guys like that, Jackie Robinson, obviously, who pushed the needle for black athletes and broke barriers. He was certainly an immediate beneficiary of that. His rookie year was in 1976. So I know how thankful he is for all those men, for making the situation what it was for him. And, to see that type of change in his lifetime, I think has really blown him away. He never expected to see it, especially with the way that he was brought up. But, he'll be the first to tell you he appreciates men like Bill Russell more than any of us.
Gets the perspective of seeing you in a city, in a region that has the wrestler represented well at different times. You're a pretty revered figure in our city.
Yeah, I mean, it just speaks to, and I'm a firm believer that progress is possible no matter the circumstances. I think people can change their hearts, they can change their beliefs, their views, and they can come together. And, as a Christian, I certainly believe that there's a reason for that. But, the fact that I'm standing here in 2022 and I've been welcomed by this community the way that I have, I think it speaks to the progress that, we've made in Boston and New England. Certainly there's room for improvement. I'm not saying that, but, I think we should celebrate. When you celebrate Bill Russell, you should celebrate the progress that has been made on a social scale. And, again, men like him really paving the way for that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Yeah, that's a great question. I think for whatever the reasons may be, right, wrong, or indifferent, there are certain figures that history has taught us to kind of cling to and revere a little bit more than others. But there are so many men and women, whether it be those gentlemen at UCLA or others, that just kind of get overlooked. And I don't think that's, it is what it is. But I do think that if you really go back and you look at history and the course of history, it was more than just one or two people. It took a collective, and it took people on both sides. I always say this. Black Americans at that time could only advance themselves so far. We needed the help of our white brothers and sisters. We just weren't going to do it on our own. So I think there's countless people whose names we'll never know, whose stories we'll never know, that really helped us get to where we are today. And, it's hard and it's unfortunate that we don't get a chance to celebrate all of them. But, I think that we should celebrate as many of them as we can.
Thank you, Matthew.
All right. Thanks, guys.